Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're wondering what the governor of Louisiana is doing on your television screen at this time.
Presenting His Excellency Huey Pierce Long, the dictator of Louisiana, the enigma who is making many Americans regret that the United States ever purchased Louisiana.
Instead of you hearing about stripteasers, instead of you hearing about call girls, instead of you hearing about Uncle Earl crazy, if I was crazy in Galveston, if I was crazy in Mandeville, I'm still crazy.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Is Louisiana politics really different?
Yeah, I think that in Louisiana, I think Mardi Gras and elections run hand in hand as the #1 pastime.
You know, I think Louisiana politics is the greatest in the nation myself.
And it's disgusting. It really is.
It's a little corrupt. It's a little corrupt.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes, sir.
You know, Louisiana might join the 20th century before it ends. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Louisiana boys, they're raised on politics down in the city and out in the sticks. Louisiana boys want to go all the way. They want to be governor someday. At 21, they head for law school after hours, perched high on a bar stool, studying hard the laws of their selection, planning for that future election. Back at home, they open up a practice, hanging shingles from bureaus to nactis, charging them fees fat and huge, cause what they crave is Baton Rouge. Louisiana boys, they're raised on politics down in the city and out in the sticks. Louisiana boys want to go all the way, they want to be governor someday. Pick it now, political fingers.
Let's keep Governor Edwards the black man friend. Rudy Lombard for Secretary of State. Vote today, come out to the polls. The polls can't come to you. You gotta go to the poll and vote.
If you've ever spent time in Louisiana, you might have seen a good example of one of its most cherished pastimes, an election. The political signs sprout early along the boulevards and neutral grounds. Placards cover every available surface. Forests of wood are put to the blade so that the public might be informed, not just about the statewide races, but about dozens of local contests as well. Canvassers mass on street corners. Phone banks work overtime shifts, and politicking is in full bloom. You could start the day by meeting a candidate in rush hour traffic, seen politicians ride in a New Orleans jazz parade, and then gone upstate to hear Al Hurt make his political endorsements.
You can always depend on Mr. Brown, a man of great renown.
Yeah,
and my friend. Mr. Brown, see.
All right. Here it is.
And if you went to the heart of Louisiana, to an event like the annual Rice Festival in Crowley, you could have seen how deeply politics and entertainment are intermingled in the Bayou State. All the candidates for major offices would be there, of course, with their armies of supporters. But an outsider would also be able to marvel at the presidential phalanxes massed in support of the men running for the high offices of tax assessor, sheriff, and commissioner of elections. And afterwards, you might agree with the man who said that politics is the fourth meal Louisianans eat. every day.
Well, the people here love politics. They take it at heart. They get involved in it. Your next door neighbor might not speak to you if you don't support the same person. That's how, after the election's over, it's all forgotten. But when it comes to voting, we take this very, very serious. I have not personally missed an election since I've been old enough to vote. I'll make them all, whether it's for more taxes or whatever. I exercise my right to vote.
Louisiana ranks with Kentucky and Chicago as most interesting places in America to run a race. And it has its own little set of rules, and it's a spectator sport here. You have huge voter turnout, a great deal of interest, and everyone knows someone who's running for office, and it's a form of entertainment.
The theater of Louisiana politics is featured in an unending cast of memorable characters and a state electorate with a seemingly boundless tolerance for all the antics. The question is, how things got this way.
I was elected railroad commissioner of Louisiana in 1918, and they tried to impeach me in 1920. When they failed to impeach me in 1920, they indicted me in 1921. And when I wiggled through that, I managed to become governor in 1928. And they impeached me in 1929.
The most famous Louisiana politician of all was the legendary Huey Pierce Long, the Kingfish, governor, senator, and presidential candidate. Exploding onto the scene as governor in 1928, Huey Long set the tone for Louisiana politics for decades to come. Flamboyant, powerful, a professed champion of the poor, with a sense of honesty that was never above suspicion, and which didn't seem to bother most of his constituents.
How many men ever went to a barbecue and would let one man take off the table what's intended for 9/10 of the people to eat? The only way you'll ever be able to feed the balance of the people is to make that man come back and bring back some of that grub he ain't got no business with.
Whatever Louisiana is today or is not, it was because of Huey Long, and he changed it forever.
Who built the highway to Baton Rouge? Who put up the high school and built the school? Who looked after shit kickers like you, the Kingfish do?
Before Huey Long, Louisiana, perhaps the poorest state in the nation, had been ruled by gentlemanly do-nothing governors, running against the corporations, Standard Oil, and the old gang. Long promised the poor something different. He would build them charity hospitals, give free school books to their children, and end their rural isolation with paved roads and bridges. And he kept his word. It was his creation of this political creed of Louisiana populism that set Long apart.
Kingfish, the Kingfish gonna save this land.
Huey Long did so much to change the politics of Louisiana, because what he did was say that I'm going to get in and help poor people. And he helped poor people visibly. He built bridges. He gave them hot school lunches. That was a politics that politicians after Huey Long learned about. You get in office, you promise helping poor people, every man a king. You get in and you do very visible things for poor people, and you win.
You've got a lot of poor people, and you've got a lot of middle class people who don't have to pay taxes because the big oil companies or someone else are paying them, and so they don't tend to mind what the politicians do with the money. So politicians were looked on as entertainment value, and what they can give the people, what they can give them in the form of roads and free school lunches, and what they can give them in the form of a few laughs.
I'm on the water wagon.
Scalawags don't make us angry. They amuse us. They entertain us. And we come to love them. And sometimes in politics, we come to keep them around. They afford us hours of discussion. Our indignation gland, someplace along the way, was sorely damaged, stymied. it no longer functions. Things which would send other people into rage at some occurrence does not seem to affect us that way. The important thing is that we be amused and entertained.
Every man a king, every man a king, for you can be a millionaire. That's fine. But there's
After Huey, a certain pattern developed in Louisiana politics. Periods of flamboyant populist governors briefly interrupted by unexciting, never re-elected reformers. It makes a colorful, if not exactly honorable, procession.
there'll be peace without end, every neighbor a friend, with every man a king. What do you think about that? I think it's fine.
1936, Richard Lesh is elected governor. He is later indicted and jailed for racketeering. 1940, Sam Jones, a reformer, becomes governor. He is never re-elected. 1944, hillbilly singer Jimmy Davis is elected governor. He then stars in a movie about his own campaign.
For you return someday.
1948, Huey's brother Earl Long and his populist ticket are swept into office. Their campaign slogan is, "Every man a king and every woman a queen." 1952, reformer Judge Robert Kennan is elected and serves one term. 1956, Earl Long is re-elected in a landslide. He is linked to a stripper named Blaze Starr and will be checked in and out of mental institutions till the end of his term. 1960, Jimmy Davis is re-elected on a segregationist platform, rides his horse up the Capitol steps, and 4 years later sings his farewell speech to the legislature.
We'll bring up House Bill 222. The code of ethics not far behind.
1964, John McKithen is elected with the slogan, "Won't you help me?" His administration is later rocked with indictments and accusations of mafia influence. 1971, Edwin Edwards becomes the first Cajun governor, travels frequently to Las Vegas, and cultivates a reputation as a womanizer. He serves 3 terms and is indicted for racketeering.
There are an awful lot of folks in Louisiana named Huey P. and Earl K. You can go just about through any telephone directory in any community and see that. The reason that a lot of them are named Huey P. is that Governor Long offered a bounty if someone would name their child after him. So there are a lot of Huey Pierce Sauniers and Huey Pierce Thibodeaux and Huey Pierce Smiths and Conleys and Williams and Johnsons in Louisiana. Most politicians are looking for immortality, and what better way for a museum to be funded than for a politician to fund it themselves? Let them put their money where their mouth is. We might even wind up with a $20,000 room or even a $50,000 room. It all depends on how someone wants to be immortalized. This is the Louisiana Political Museum and Hall of Fame, and by looking at it, you might think that politics in Louisiana is in a shambles right now, but actually it's not. We've just started this project, and it's a way that we're going to honor our culture and our heritage of politics in Louisiana, and which is so colorful. If you want to, we can go inside and take a look at it, but it's not a whole lot to see.
I want to be governor on the up and up, where I can help the poor man the middleman and the rich man, if he'll behave himself.
The legacy of Huey Long continued with his brother Earl. Many people remember Earl as outspoken, impulsive, and colorful, if not crazy. But it was Earl who instituted populist platforms that became an integral part of Louisiana political culture, programs people heard about at old-time stump-speaking rallies.
They tell you that Louisiana is the highest tax state in the nation. Ain't so. Considering what we give and what we do for our people, it's the lowest tax state in the nation. Oh yeah, we help police juries. We help the cities. All that. You know what they do in Texas? They let them root for themselves. Oh yeah, they tax.
I remember the early long days. Very few people had the radios. We had no television. And we said, hey, man, the governor's coming to campaign in our town. And let's go out. And they'd start cooking. It was dangerous to be a chicken in those days because if you were, they'd probably barbecue you for that day.
The Earl K. Long Program. Presenting Jack Gremillion, candidate for Attorney General. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gremillion.
Now, I cannot tell you all about this platform, but there are 4 important planks in that platform that I would like to tell you about. And the 4 important planks in that platform are these. Number 1, no new taxes. Governor Long says that there will be absolutely no new taxes.
When Earl Long became governor in 1956, I believe it was, he promised every man and woman over 65 years old, he said, 30 days, when I go in that mansion, you're going to get a $50 check. My mother and father was living this. My mother died in my home about 10 years ago. She got a $50. She never was on the welfare. She got that $50 till she died.
This was a state that people depended on politics for a source of income, for health, for education. It was a true welfare state. And in a welfare state, when you depend on politics for your well-being, you have a great interest in politics.
There's only 2 classes of people that can get first-class hospital treatment. That's the poor and the rich. All right? Why, it's so high, ordinary man can't afford to be sick. So I guess that's where they practice that Christian Science, you know.
This state belongs to the people. I belong to you. Never has anyone come since the days of Huey Long who bore in his heart and on his shoulders the burdens and the concerns of people. I know what it is to go to bed at night and wonder if your child wakes up in pain at 2 o'clock in the morning that you're not going to be able to get a doctor or medical assistance. I know what it is to see people without food. I grew up in that kind of an environment. I don't want it to happen to anybody.
Over the years, populism retained its appeal in Louisiana. In the 1970s and 80s, it again dominated the political scene through its latest incarnation, Edwin W. Edwards, perhaps the most colorful Louisiana politician of all.
You feel it. When you become that man's president, you feel his presence. You don't have to see him. There's something about that man, just like the Pope, that you get cling to.
Who built the 4-lane highway in front of this facility? Who's building the interstate to Shreveport? Who built the Cajun Dome? Who paved the parking lot at the football stadium? Who's 4-laning the highway to Abbeville? Who's going to be your governor for the next 4 years?
Edwards governed as an heir of the Longs. He rewrote the state constitution, reorganized state government, used oil boom dollars to increase social spending, and brought blacks into the political mainstream. and he was wildly popular.
All right, darling, come on here. Don't you tell your boyfriend about this now. Merci beaucoup.
Flamboyant, often outrageous, the target of numerous grand juries, Edwards loved gambling and women and was rather cavalier on the subject of public ethics.
I think that it's standard for people at my level in politics to be investigated by the Internal Revenue Service. It's just part of the job.
The people out here have all heard the stories of his womanizing, of his gambling, of corruption. Why do they love Edwin Edwards? And this guy looked at me and said, he doesn't drink or smoke.
But I really was impressed with the skit that the 5 representatives of the women members of the legislature did, and this emphasis on women, this new thrust that this new commitment we have to the involvement of women in the political process. Certainly, they said it very well. The motto from here on out is up with skirts and down with paints.
Many times you'll explain things to people who've just moved into the area, and you see this sudden look of bewilderment or disbelief as if to say, you mean your elected officials can get away with saying something like that? And you say, well, sure. And then you have to remind yourself, oh, that's right, they're not from Louisiana.
The one thing about Edwards, he's never lied about it. You know, if he goes to Las Vegas, he goes. And you know, there's nothing wrong with a little color.
Saying it took one opponent an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes, Edwards boasted that he couldn't lose unless he was found in bed with a dead girl or a live boy. And he was right. Populist in style, a powerful stump speaker, yet at ease with modern television campaigning, Edwards set the tone for politicians throughout the state.
Who was the greatest politician you've seen in Louisiana during your lifetime?
My lifetime, it would have to be every time I shave and look in the mirror, I see him.
Remember, tomorrow is an election day. Remember, tomorrow is an election day.
So some things you see here that you don't see anyplace else. For example, when you drive down the boulevards here, you'll see 10,000 signs on stakes in the middle of the boulevard. If you go to Gary, Indiana, you won't see one. If you go to Hartford, Connecticut, you won't see one. You see that here.
It's not the pale moon that excites me, baby, that thrill and delight me. Oh no.
Modern political campaigns in Louisiana combine a mix of the old and the new, leaving few stones unturned in the pursuit of votes.
Conversation, baby, now you know that stirs my imagination. Oh no.
At times, the very face of political advertising takes on some very creative native forms.
When you're in my own, and I feel you so close to me, all my wildest dreams, baby, come true. Yes, they do.
Well, one thing that's unique about the politics of Louisiana, and specifically the politics of New Orleans, is the role that is played in election after election by a grocery bag. We have in the New Orleans area a grocery chain called Schwegman, which is known for selling high-volume, relatively cheap groceries, and has become something of a hero of the people. And come election time, Mr. Schwegman, the owner, will print on the bag his endorsement, so that every customer going home will take with them Mr. Schwegman's advice on what to do in this election.
Have you ever heard of any other grocery stores doing something like this anywhere?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But I tell you, I would encourage other people in the industry to do it. I think it's a good American way of electing fine people to office without spending any money.
Do you know what's on your bag?
Donald Mints. Where he's running for mayor.
Do you ever find it strange that there's political advertising on shopping bags at all?
No, I don't find it strange. It's good advertising.
Politics is not something we engage in for those noble purposes that our forefathers, I think, set out. Here, it's like a spectator sport. It's like watching gladiators.
The citizens of New Orleans have taken a lot of abuse. We've been choked by a 9-cent sales.
In the ring of Louisiana's political advertising, there are few holes barred.
The Louisiana Ship of State. With Captain Dave Treen at the helm, Louisiana suffered the largest deficit in the state's history.
It's Mr. Softy, former Assistant DA Art Lentini. He talks tough, but has a soft heart, especially when prosecuting criminals. In his last 2 years as an Assistant DA, Mr. Softy tried only 8 jury trials while plea bargaining 135 others. He agreed to reduce the charges in 135 cases, including 3 murders and 4 aggravated rapes. As a crime fighter, Art Lentini, Mr. Softy, has made a mess.
Ready and action.
Years ago, enlightened leaders provided free meals and transportation and books so that every child could get an education, not just the wealthy. Now I propose to reward high school students for better achievement. $500 for an A average, $400 for a B, $200 for a C. It will encourage them to stay in school and to make the best grades possible.
Cut it.
What was the time?
Time?
28.68.
That's
Well, I
fine.
like the copy. Let's see what it looks like.
Play back, please.
$500 for an A average, $400 for a B, $200 for a C. It will encourage them to stay in school and to make the best grades possible.
Time?
I like it. 27.
Whoa, Tom, I don't like this one. You're cutting off his head a hell of a lot faster than you're cutting off his tie.
Back up a little.
I mean, you're right technically, but you know, you're looking at 30 seconds, man. When it's over with, they're not going to know whether I'm selling cornflakes or education.
Most house races, U.S. house races, don't use television. Very few of them use television. Television's too expensive a medium. But here you'll run for clerk of court using television.
Dr. Robert Truting has the medical, administrative, and community experience Jefferson Parish needs in a coroner. Put fresh energy and a new face in the coroner's office. Dr. Robert Truting, coroner.
I've seen people spend more money running for city council of New Orleans than running for governor of Connecticut. I actually ran a campaign for the governor of Connecticut, Bill O'Neill, where we spent less than $1 million. I've seen more than $1 million spent in so many races. Here, there's a little tiny town outside of New Orleans called Kenner. I don't know how many tens of millions of dollars have been spent there. It's just phenomenal.
In a state with a population of only 4 million, legendary sums have been spent in campaigns. $20 million for governor in 1979. $24 million between 2 gubernatorial candidates in 1983. The 1987 winner for state insurance commissioner spent more than $2 million and then was indicted for bribery. As money from rich contributors, hoping to gain favor and influence, fills campaign war chests, armies of paid workers take to the streets. And some see it all as just another manifestation of populism's spreading the wealth.
In a way of looking at things, these elections are a method of redistribution of income. A lot of rich people give lots of money to candidates, and they end up giving it to a lot of local leaders who end up paying a lot of drivers and printers and door-to-door people and phone people to go out and do their work. So in a way, I think it's a way of spreading a lot of that money around.
On May 4th, vote against the takeover.
Bear in mind, it's not just politics that we're into. We're into other things, too, that people elsewhere aren't. We party more than most people in America do. There's a joyfulness in this state, sometimes a sadness, but generally a joyfulness about what we do, and politics is part of that joy.
Louisiana's political ethos, inhabiting a world of high stakes, loose morality, and unrestrained theater, is often blamed on the state's politicians, but some might say it's a reflection of the people of Louisiana as well.
Louisiana politics is probably perceived to be different because our state is so different. We inhabit here the darndest melting pot of almost any other state, and our politics is a reflection of it. So this hodgepodge, this, if you'll excuse me, this gumbo of all of these ingredients are almost a concoction of a mad scientist, and it was bound to have produced something unique.
Just listen to some of the politicians across the state, and you can hear those differences.
I'm Milton Needles Vicknair from Ascension Parish. I'm a police jury. I represent District 6B.
I'm Ed Lombard. I'm clerk of court now in New Orleans, and I'm a candidate for Secretary of State.
My name is Max Kelly. I'm the mayor of Winfield, Louisiana, the home of Huey and Earl Long.
On lot go, je veux dire à tout le monde qui parle français. Il y a du monde ici qui parle français? All right. Il y a qu'un candidat dans cette course aujourd'hui qui parle ta langue et qui comprend le monde français parce que je suis un Cadien comme vous autres. Et n'oubliez pas ça samedi qui vient. Allons dire en français.
I say he's a Cooney like I am. Cooney's somebody that speaks French. Like I do.
Yes.
We French.
Where you're from?
I had to go to school to learn English.
In South Louisiana, where French is still spoken among the Acadian people, it takes some special talents to be successful in politics.
Here in the country, what we do, if you can't cook, it's very difficult for you to run for office because so much of it revolves around a very good gravy and the ability to speak French and being able to identify as one of the people. And if you can't speak French and can't cook and you run against a Cajun who can speak French and cook, I would say you better hold on to your hat because you're going to have some problems. My own belief. Hello.
Hello.
Comment ça va?
C'est bon?
Ça va bien,
How
M.
you-
Moore?
Just right. How you all doing?
Non, on a mis mon head on mon head.
Hey, I love probably when you said they don't do that way. How you get it? If it can be done, let it get with you.
I want 3 good reasons why I should vote for you.
So I'm the best candidate, and I think you're very gorgeous, and you put it, and you look like you got a good mind, and you.
I do
and
have a
know
good mind.
Anybody that's pretty like you, that's got a good mind like you, bound to vote for the best.
All right.
If I had to tell a stranger the difference between South and North Louisiana, I would tell them that if they wanted a nice, quiet place to live, then they should go to North Louisiana.
North Louisiana has rolling hills, forested with pine. People of Anglo-Saxon stock, good, substantial people, with names like Johnson, Long, MacDonald.
Politics in North Louisiana have generally not been as colorful. Perhaps it's not as intense, it's not as partisan as politics in the southern part of the state. And then in North Louisiana, we do not have the interest in state politics, I think, as much as the people in South Louisiana do.
Most state governors, populists and reformers, were from here. But the people of North Louisiana and their politics are more like their neighbors in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas.
North Louisiana is part of the traditional southern Bible Belt, where views on moral issues, social issues are largely influenced by the outlook of the prevalent Protestant church in North Louisiana.
There's nothing going on up there. There's nothing going on up there.
Go to Mamua.
I mean, Shreveport is a suburb of Dallas. No,
Well, New Orleans is another country. New Orleans doesn't belong to Louisiana at all. It's a completely different culture, completely different people.
Compared to the rural North and French Acadiana, the city of New Orleans, the Big Easy, is another world. Its politics, more like northern cities, have blended diverse ethnic groups and big city-type organizations, but always with a distinctive New Orleans flavor. Much like other cities in recent years, New Orleans politics have come to be dominated by the black community, but with a difference. Most of the first generation of elected black officials had names like Morial, Charbonnet, Boissier and Braden, and Bartholomew, all light-skinned Catholic Creoles.
Before the Civil War, New Orleans had the largest single or percentage population of free people of color. Les gens de couleur, they were referred to en français. This was a class of people who were never slaves. In some cases, people who owned slaves themselves were the people who made up that artisan class. These people became a little more keenly involved in politics at an earlier stage. They were, after all, the first black middle class of New Orleans.
In the 1960s, Creole blacks helped lead the way in creating large political organizations that mobilized the newly enfranchised black vote.
We had the first black councilman at large.
And they helped black New Orleanians become players in the political game.
the funny thing about it to me was I loved it. See, I was a political junkie from day one. And we put this organization together, and everything we did for a few years was a first. Because, you know, there was no real path to follow. We were blazing our own trails. We were a bunch of young crazies who were, had really nothing to lose and everything to gain. So we, you know, played a very rough and tumble game of politics.
And in the fertile soil of New Orleans, many more black organizations took root.
I don't think there's any doubt that one of the most interesting aspects of our politics is that proliferation of these little neighborhood political organizations. Almost every 5 or 6 block area has someone who has created a political organization, and it's always a cute name like Bold or Coup or Soul, and it always stands for something that sounds wonderful and noble. Sometimes it may be.
On Election Day, these organizations pass out hundreds of thousands of tickets, each with its own endorsements. And there are a lot of organizations. There's BOLD, the Black Organization for Leadership Development. SOUL, the Southern Organization for United Leadership. DAWN, and the list goes on. In this black majority city, blacks have won most major offices, and the organizations, funded by the candidates they endorse, have prospered as well. But with an economic recession and white money fleeing to the suburbs, most blacks in New Orleans remain poor. People may love politics here, but many doubt that their participation really influences their daily lives.
New Orleans has a black mayor, majority black city council, majority black school board. Most of our state reps are black, and yet if you told the average black New Orleanian that black people run this city, they would laugh at you.
The next United States Senator from the state of Louisiana, David Duke.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that racial discrimination in hiring or jobs or promotions is wrong. I think the best qualified person should get the job, promotion, or scholarship. And I think that's true. Not only is racial discrimination wrong when exercised against a young black person, I think it's just as wrong when exercised against a young white person in our society.
While the national media was absorbed with the notoriety of David Duke's 1990 Senate campaign, only a few recognized that he was part of a continuing strain of Louisiana politics.
I love the nigger, but I know that he can't run this country. The breeding that's behind him is not what it takes to build a civilization, and we don't intend to let our civilization go to ruin.
30 years ago, Louisiana's violent resistance to civil rights was led by rabid segregationists like State Senator Willie Raynack and Judge Leander Perez, who threatened to imprison civil rights workers in an old fort in the middle of a swamp.
If they choose to come in 10s and 20s, we'll take care of them. If they choose to come in hundreds, we'll pack them in here, just the same.
But while Perez and Raynack represented an extreme, segregation as a policy was backed by most whites. David Duke was a former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, had sold pro-Nazi and anti-Semitic literature out of his legislative office, and had reportedly celebrated Adolf Hitler's birthday, complete with a cake, well into the 1980s.
You sell things, you pass out things called nigger hunting license, a nigger hunting license.
No, we do not. I do not pass out. I do not.
You do not, but your lieutenants do. Maybe you do. It says, having paid the license fee is hereby licensed to hunt and kill niggers, in caps, during the open season in Texas. This is beautiful, David. I mean, you know, for a guy who does it. It's also, I mean, it's a joke.
But it is a joke, yes. It is satire.
For a guy who says you don't belittle others.
With a face remade by plastic surgery, the 1990 version of David Duke combined blow-dried hair with less extreme rhetoric, but his supporters knew what he meant.
I might be a very tiny David against a huge Goliath, but you have the power, each of you, to put a stone into my sling.
Duke cast himself in the populist tradition, and in the midst of a recession, 60% of the state's white voters were willing to ignore his self-proclaimed youthful indiscretions, propelling him to a strong second-place finish, and thereby keeping Duke around as the latest standard-bearer of racial politics. At least until the next election.
And I only feel that this man is going to do the best, like Huey P. Long did for this state years ago.
David Duke represents the American people. He tells them what they want to hear.
I think now we're not in so much in political slavery like we are in economic slavery.
But Louisiana's broke, I'm telling you. Economy is bad.
They have wasted a lot of taxpayers' money, wasting time down there, doing nothing. They don't have any money to do nothing with it. They don't have any money to do anything with to start with. Everybody got the hand out. They want a free lunch program. The party's over. Go home. Give them 40 acres and a mule.
Louisiana is a wonderful state. It has wonderful people. But as long as they let the politicians that they put in office do what they do, they keep putting them in, knowing what they do, things aren't going to change.
My politics can be summed up quickly. I'm a different politician. I don't like Louisiana politics. Too much money, too much corruption, too much double talk. We're better than our politics, folks.
Sometimes scandals and economic bad times put an angry electorate in a reform mood, and sometimes, as with Buddy Roemer's election in 1987, the reformers win. But once the voters throw the rascals out, their interest in changing the entire system usually flags, and reform agendas die in the legislature. But reformers calling for good government are a part of every Louisiana campaign.
I'll make you one commitment, and I'll shut up. You give me a chance to be your governor, and I'll pull this state together. I won't play North versus South, white versus black, Democrat versus Republican. Who cares? I'll put Louisiana first, and I'll go anywhere in America with you. And we'll make them stop laughing and start listening. Thanks, everybody.
In my lifetime, I have seen candidates for governors repeatedly raise their voices in rhetoric which divided us and pit the city dweller against the farmer, pit the black man against the white man, the young against the old. But I believe that the change which we see now, the fresh winds of change that are going to blow across this state, are going to make it possible for a person such as I to be elected governor without making the same old deals, without selling the offices to the highest bidder to raise campaign funds, without making the promises to retain the status quo.
Reformer or populist, it takes a certain style to win in Louisiana. Today's politicians may eventually change the style and the substance of Louisiana politics. Some say that a change is inevitable.
Our politics, like everyone else, is becoming more homogenized. What it takes to win on TV is what we're getting. And I think in the end it's going to lead to a blander kind of politics in Louisiana. But it's not going to happen overnight. There'll still be a few laughs and a lot of tears before all that happens.
For all its electoral antics and political theater, Louisiana has also been a state where taking care of its constituents has been more than just a political slogan. Politics has meant jobs and services without a lot of high taxes. But this tradition of providing for the people has gone hand in hand with the tradition of tolerance for political shenanigans. Things may change, but as one observer said, if you were a politician and had to choose a state to put on the other side of the confessional, you'd sure choose Louisiana, as chances are you would be forgiven.
We're a cycle. We're turning constantly. Good government, populist. Good government, populist. If a good government man wins, I can almost definitely predict that a majority of our citizenry will be completely bored with him and disenchanted with him 2 years after he's in office. And we'll be looking for some quotation mark character, close quotation mark. And one will come along. Even as we're filming this, new populists are being bred someplace in North Louisiana or on the bayous or in the French Quarter.
Louisiana boys, they're raised on politics down in the city and out in the sticks. Louisiana boys want to go all the way. They want to be governor someday. At 21, they head for law school after hours, perched high on a bar stool, studying hard the laws of their selection, planning for that future election. Back at home, they open up a practice, hanging shingles from bureaus to nactors, charging them fees fat and huge, 'cause what they crave is Baton Rouge. Louisiana boys, they're raised on politics down in the city and out in the sticks. Louisiana boys want to go all the way. They want to be governor someday. Pick it now, political fingers. And one more time for the legislature. Driving through the capital, they're full of desire. Ambitions smolder and then catch fire. Along I-10, they can't help glancing when they pass that stately mansion. To get their start, they need friend support, mayors and judges in their court, a few rich folks and power possessors, of course, the sheriffs and tax assessors.
The way I look at it is just like this. If you serve the public for 4 years in Louisiana, you're crazy. If you serve them for 8 years, you're insane. And if you serve them for 12 years, you'll most probably get indicted.